Welcome to the Couple-preneurs Show, helping couples in business develop structure and strategies that nurture the balance between business and home, bringing you interviews and insights to give you the secret sauce of power couples. Here are your hosts, Oscar and Kaya Frazier.
Couple-preneurs, entrepreneurs, small business owners, people thinking about getting into business for themselves. If any of these things sound remotely like you, this show is absolutely for you. Today, I am super excited to have this conversation with a very important guest that's on our show today. But before I do that, let me hand it over to Kaya so she can go do her thing with our sponsors.
All right, let's recognize our sponsors. First, we have Talk Shirt to Me. All those shirts that you see out there with those cool slogans on them, and you're like, oh man, I wish I had that shirt. Go check out Talk Shirt to Me because they specialize in slogan t-shirts. It's spelled exactly how it sounds, talkshirttome.com. Also, we have Carolina Runners. They're a family-owned trucking company. So all you owner-operators out there that are looking for an authority, please check them out. Carolina-runners.com is the website. Please go out and give them a ring.
Somehow you've gotten really good at that. I mean, I wish I had that ability to be able to just,
I might
spill it all out like that.
I might hand off the sponsorships to you one day.
So you don't want me to do that? No, trust me. Our sponsors will be very mad at us if I were to do that. Anyway, let me give our listenership a quick story as far as why I'm so excited for the guest that we have here today. So, as we all know, after the situations that we all have gone through from 2020 with the pandemic, and still in a similar scenario as we were last year, really, right?
Absolutely.
Things have changed, but still kind of more the same.
Yes.
We're all trying to find ways how to maximize our dollars. We're trying to find ways to ensure that our revenue, that we can increase revenue. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, for a lot of our business owners that have, unfortunately lost revenue as a result of last year, they're now trying to find unique ways to maximize their profitability, right?
Replace what they lost.
Yeah. And so some folks that I know are doing things like, letting people utilize their cars. Some of them maybe even doing side hustles like, what is it called? The Ubers, Airbnbs, etc. But now there's this interesting concept, and I cannot wait to talk about it because it's a part of a quote unquote sharing economy, and it's about renting your life. Right. And so before I butcher it and mess it all up, let me introduce to all of you Mrs. Cindy. Cindy, how are you doing today?
Very good, thanks. Thanks, y'all, so much for having me. Doing great.
Oh gosh, yeah, we're so excited to have you. Now, I remember you talking to us a little bit right before the actual the podcast, and we were just in awe about some of the things that you have been able to accomplish. So if you can just walk us through who you are, what you do, the name of your company, and what's this whole thing about this sharing economy scenario that you've got going on?
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Oscar and Sakaya. My name is Cindy Diffenderfer. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Orion Haus Homes and Hotels. We are a home sharing friendly property management and ownership group. And what that means is our residents that live in either our single family or multifamily homes, when they're not around, they're away for the weekend, they're able to monetize their home while they're away. Meaning we can list it on Airbnb, VRBO, or Booking.com to make extra money from your home while you're not using it. And I think what you just brought up through the pandemic, we saw a lot of behavioral trends shift. A lot of people really suffer, especially from the small business perspective. And we like to dive in there and say, how can we enhance this person's lifestyle, and how can we give additional tools to families and to entrepreneurs out there and small business owners out there that are otherwise struggling. And we think additional income earned through home sharing is a great way to do that without taking a second job or having to take out a mortgage or a second mortgage on your business or things of that nature. It gives a chance for additional income potential.
So is this similar to, is it like an Airbnb scenario, or is this something different?
It is, but how we're different is that you don't have to own your real estate in order to monetize it. So generally speaking, you're going to have to buy a real estate asset, be it a house or a condo, in order for you to re-rent that and to make money off of it. there's a new term in the home sharing economy called rental arbitration. And so that's where you take a lease. So I would go and lease an apartment or a townhouse on an annualized basis, and then I would sublease that on a short-term rental basis through platforms like Airbnb or VRBO to earn additional income, that short-term rental income, where you can make $300, $400, $500 a night for a rental versus, the $2,000 a month on a traditional monthly rental. So now you don't have to own that real estate to monetize it.
Oh, see, I like that.
That's
I like that. And the reason why I really like that when you say like the $300 to $500 a day, see, Kaya is very expensive. I don't think you know this yet, Cindy, but he's extremely expensive, and I have to find every way that I can to try to get some more revenue in here before she kicks me out the house.
Hey,
so
you don't stop.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear about this. But and I'm gonna tell you why I really like this. So here in Atlanta, there's so many condos and places where you can rent things and or not even necessarily condos, but just lease like apartments that are just, fabulous for someone that would come into town that may be visiting, that would want to be like in a prime location, like a Midtown or like a Atlantic Station, all these different areas that's just perfect for a visitor. Is this something that you would recommend? Like, so let's say, for example, if I have my own property now, but would you recommend someone would go out and perhaps go get 2 or 3 other leases, and then they would just do something like this? Or what would be the first step in something like this if someone wanted to get involved?
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a wait list on our website. So we've got about 36,000 people on that wait list right now, just like yourself, that are looking to make extra income without taking on that second or third job. So you can add your name to the wait list. And what that really does for you is secure a spot in our communities as we introduce new inventory. What we do from the ownership and management perspective is we work with developers through acquisitions and or through property management agreements and take on entire communities. So both in the heart of downtown areas like that urban core, as well as, kind of the surrounding areas, secondary and tertiary marketplaces. Right now, we've got a lot of demand from smaller beach communities, from outlying lake and mountain towns, where we're seeing a lot of America driving and taking vacations. So if you want to have a vacation home outside of the city that you don't really have to carry on your balance sheet, that can be a profit center for you. You sign a lease with Orion House. You decide if you want that unit furnished or unfurnished. And you say, I'm going to be there 2 months out of the year. I want it for December and January. The other 10 months, Cindy, I want you guys to run it, rent it out, and send me as much money as you can possibly make for us. And so there's a couple of scenarios. You can do it like that, or you can say, I want this as my primary residence. I'm going to live in Buckhead. I'm going to take that apartment, and that's my primary residence. But you know what? I'm going to go visit my parents for the holidays. I'm gone every other weekend because I'm in some sports league. And when I'm not using my home, I want to earn money then. And then you would say, okay, you're going to open up the calendar and you say Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving. $500 a night. You rent it out. High travel periods, seasonal communities, all of that. And then we do the rest. We do the cleaning, we do the interior design, furnishing, we do security, background checks, we collect all of the taxes, do zoning, permitting, regulatory, and compliance to make sure that your home is in the shape that you left it when you get back. If there are any damages, we deal with all of those things. So really, you can kind of set it and forget it. And use that second or third or fourth home the way that you want to, and monetize it in the time that you don't want to utilize it.
Wow, I love the flexibility.
I wish we knew her in 2018 and 2019.
That was fascinating.
2 weeks out of the month, we were in DC, and our apartment stayed still. There was no one in there.
We literally only spent probably about 2 weeks in our apartment every month. At that point, and it was this would have been outstanding.
So
I totally relate. And I've done this for years, y'all. I've been hosting on Airbnb since 2011. But I've always used it as a tool, especially as an entrepreneur. It's feast or famine. And in some of those famine periods, I would crash on couches, or, I would be traveling and trying to raise capital or whatever I was going to do. But you know what? That $275 or $350 a night I was making off that apartment helped keep the lights on. And so, whether you need it or you don't, you don't create wealth by being frivolous with your things and your time and your spaces. This is just one more way to help clean up your balance sheet and take care of the things that you need to do without actually having to do the extra work. An extra few $1,000s a month goes a long way for a lot of people. And that's what we really hope to achieve with the product that we put out there.
Wow. So, and so I heard you say you've been doing this since 2011. So the actual company, Orion, has it actually been, did you start it in 2011, or how long has that been in existence?
Nope. Orion is brand new. I mean, brand new. We're about 2 years old. So we started in January 2020. My other company I launched in 2015, which was another home sharing company called Nido, which is our rental branded product, and that was in partnership with Airbnb. And then Nativo, which is a condo product, so for sale condos, but same business model. You could buy in there and you could rent it out to a tenant, and then you could do short-term rentals or whatever you chose to do. But when I talk about using Airbnb as a host since 2011, I was just an average Joe. I was a regular girl starting a company. At that time, I was in the craft beer business, and I was looking to make extra money, and I was on the road. My territory was in the Northeast in New England. And so, half the time I was out selling to beer distributors while my apartment in Manhattan was sitting idle. I didn't have the luxury of just letting it sit there. So I listed on Airbnb and ran that as kind of my side gig to help finance my startup at that time. And so over the years, I've been hosting now for 10 years, both individually, which my personal homes are on Airbnb and VRBO, and then commercially at Orion House and Nido and Nativo. So I've been in the commercial home sharing space now for about 6 years.
Yeah, this is so impressive.
I was gonna say those exact words.
And me being from Charleston, South Carolina earlier, I think I butchered the name by saying Orion. So
that's okay. It's all over the map.
Yeah, my apologies there. So the other aspect that you mentioned when we were talking a little earlier is the Rent Your Life concept, and I like that. And I think you mentioned about it being from like cars to planes to all sorts of different concepts. Like, is that a part of the Orion brand as well?
Yeah, so we do, we manage multifamily housing, which is just traditional apartment communities. We have single family houses. We also have vehicle sharing in those communities. We've got bike sharing, we've got stand-up paddles and kayak boards, and we have the community contribute their own things. So if you live in a community and you have a kayak or you have a stand-up paddle, we put it kind of into circulation and to use. So your neighbors can use it, and then we repair it and just kind of keep it going like that. But it's the same thing as like an Uber or a Lyft or a Lime scooter. Whenever those vehicles or drivers are not, moving that vehicle around, it's available for others to use. So it's really like, why does a car have to sit in a parking lot? Why does a house have to sit empty? Why does a bike have to sit unridden? And it's really taking all of these great resources that we have and really putting it into a sharing community. And we just create, software tools and technology to kind of organize that in a fashion so that people can benefit from it. In some cases, they can profit from it if it's something that others are willing to pay for. But it's really taking what would otherwise be a possession that is unique to an individual and starting to get more mileage out of that. No pun intended.
I tell you, because kind of we're in a boat club here in Atlanta. Every time we travel, it's like a shared pocket of boats, right? So wherever you go, you can leverage it. And I think a concept like this is probably going to become more and more popular. Probably globally, but I know at least within the U.S., I would think that this is becoming more and more popular, so folks can kind of like buy something. It almost becomes an investment, right? Yeah. Now I'm not just buying a depreciating, piece of like a car or something, but I can say this now is a money making and money generating scenario for me. Great concept. I love it.
The boat club is a perfect analogy. That's it. That's exactly right. In fact, I just sold my boat, but I was also chartering it. So I had it for personal use, and then I would charter it anytime I wasn't using it. It's the same concept. It's just, people have been doing this forever, right? We're communal human beings, are communal by nature. It's only the last 150 years where we all started living in individual houses. Up until then, it was all collective living. And, there are many cultures around the world that are still collective living. So I think that cultural shift to individualism and having, the isolated single family houses Some of that is starting to peel back and go back, and people like, engaging with others. And it doesn't just have to be family; it's family and friends, and people you haven't met yet. And it's really an interesting way to, enhance and enrich your life. And I look at it generationally too. We see a lot of older folks joining our communities, and grandparents, and great aunts and uncles, and parents over the shoulder, because they're saying, "Wait a second, I'm on a fixed income. I've got my grandkids are 22 and 23, and they're in Mykonos, and they're in Croatia, and they're all these places, and they're driving a fancy new car, and they've got this great luxury apartment. How in the hell are they doing that?" And it's from the sharing economy. They don't own all of those things. They might lease, or they might rent, or who knows what they're doing. And maybe they're driving for Uber to help offset their costs. And when they're traveling, they're using Airbnb to pay for their home and for their vacation. So you're seeing it in a lot of different ways. You're seeing it really come to life in a lot of different ways, but we're seeing it across, continents and across generations.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by the management aspect of this, right? Because some people, they want to get into like the Airbnb concept, or the let me rent out things that I have concept, but they don't know how to manage it and how to make it happen, and where to look for the people, and what they need to, how they need to list it and get people in, to believe in the concept. So
totally agree.
I like the management aspect of this.
Yeah. And I know, Cindy, that you mentioned that there's about 36,000 people on your wait list. And is it like a technology to where like the turnaround time? So I'm really asking selfishly at this point. So like if we like, let's say we were to try to sign up for something like this, like what's that? Is the process? Is it all like technology based out, so it kind of speeds through like that process, or is it really like more of like a one-on-one? It just may take a couple years to get on, or what's that process look like?
No, yeah. So it's a great question. We have built a pretty strong technology stack to support this. So basically everything from the building, onboarding, from our commercial perspective to the consumer experience is done digitally. You can do 100% of your leasing, your furniture selection, your credit applications, your deposit payments, everything done digitally. You as a couple could decide, okay, we want this as our primary residence and we want it unfurnished. Or you're going to say, I want a place in Miami and I want a place in Chicago, and I really want it to be rented out most of the time. I want to spend a month or two in each city, and that's it, right? So in those two cases, you're going to say, I want those furnished. We typically have 6 different design aesthetics per community. So we all have 6 different designs in Chicago, New York, or Atlanta, and you can say, oh, I like, this modern, the bright whites look and monotone, or I really like the colors, or whatever it is. So you can pick kind of a style that suits your needs. Our interior design team goes in, they install it, they set it up, they photograph it, they market your listing, and then you run your calendar. So that's really the only thing that you have to do, is you've got to create the availability for when you want to use your home or when you want it rented out. And then everything else, you can say, we want you to do the property management and the revenue management and the guest check-ins and check-outs and all of the cleaning. And really, it is that kind of set it and forget it. You can be hands-on, if it's going to be your primary residence and you want to be involved in the home sharing aspect of it, that's totally up to you. But you can be a really dormant resident, where you just say, look, my primary residence is Atlanta. I want the Chicago apartment for 1 month a year. I want the Miami apartment for 1 month a year. And then I want to make an extra $1,000 or $2,000 each a month off of those units. And then Orion House runs it for you. So it's that simple. So yeah, you can go online right now. We don't have inventory for leases today. We are full. We are introducing another about 3,000 units over the next 6 months. We actually do have inventory coming in Atlanta and Memphis and Jackson, Mississippi, Houston, Austin, Dallas, and San Antonio, and a few other cities across the Southeast. So as soon as that inventory becomes available, and if you are on the wait list, it'll go out and say Memphis is delivering. We've got 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom, and studios there. Here are our rents. Here's our anticipated potential revenue projection for that particular market and unit. If you're interested, let us know and apply now. Wow. And we run everything else. We'll do all of the revenue projections and make sure that, if this is a secondary or third home for you, and you are looking at it as a profit center, that we're going to say, look, Memphis might not be the right market. You're not going to make enough off of that property to really be profitable. If you're going to do this for profit, we recommend Clearwater, Tampa, St. Pete. Those are where we've got the most amount of demand. North Carolina and the mountains, etc. And so we'll help guide our residents based on data. So it's all data driven. We're monitoring not only the rental market, but also the hospitality and travel market. So, running those numbers on competitive sets and making sure that we're creating value out there and that you don't go and take multiple leases that are going to have you running in the red. And in some cases, that's the case. Some of these buildings really should just be primary residences because there is not that travel demand. But in the markets where there are, that's where we'll try and put our professional hosts to make sure that they can make the most amount of money while also enjoying that home when they choose to be in that city.
Yeah, totally hear you. What we're going to do is on the show notes, we'll make sure that we list out all of the ways folks get in contact with you. We've got your website, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll make sure all those links are there. But if there's any other way that you'd like folks to get in contact with you, let me take that back. Let me ask you this way. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
I would say the website with the wait list, especially if they're really coming from a consumer's perspective and they want to get on that list and they want to get apartments for the home sharing program, the wait list is the best. If you've got listeners out there that want to invest in the company, we do have a live campaign that is consumer focused, so it's non-accredited investors, and they can go on that. I think I also provided that link to you, but we're on a crowdfunding platform called Start Engine. So it's just startengine.com/Orion-House. And that's where you can do consumer investing. So as little as $198, you can buy into the parent company, similar to how Airbnb did their pre-IPO, offering it up to individuals. And then the wait list is for those that really want to get into the home sharing program, and you put your name on there and whatever city you're interested in.
Got it.
And so those are the two best ways.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you so much again. This has been mind-blowing,
Yes,
on my end. I always think I know something until I don't, and then I realize there's so much more to still learn. So I really appreciate your time, and hopefully maybe sometime in 2022 we can have you back, on the show to talk a little bit more about this. I think this is going to continue just to grow.
Yes,
People are going to be more and more interested in things like this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much. Congratulations on all your success, and we'll be watching you too. We really appreciate y'all.
All right, sounds good, Cindy. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
You've been listening to the Couple-preneurs Show. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.kothoughtleaders.com.